This conference will now be recorded.
Can we start, ma'am?
Yes.
We welcome you here, ma'am.
Yeah.
I would like. We welcome you. Now I would request Professor Jasprit Kaur to kindly introduce the speaker of the day. Jasprit, ma'am, please.
Very good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Dr. Jasprit.
I Jasprit on behalf of Department of Business Administration, Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Ludhiana, welcome you to this 2-week FDP program sponsored by AICTE New Delhi under AICTE. Now I would like to introduce our expert speaker, Dr. Vandana Sharma. Dr. Vandana Sharma is a professor emeritus in Akal University, Bathinda. She is former head in psychology, Dean Social Sciences in Punjabi University, Patiala. We welcome you here, ma'am. Over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jasprit. I'll just share the screen. Yeah. Just close the door. Hello, viewers. Am I audible, visible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible and visible.
Okay. Okay. So, thank you so much, the organizers, Dr. Nabbi, Jasprit ma'am, for calling me and making me a part of the program, faculty development. I am so glad to be a part of it. Yes, as the title itself suggests that it is social psychological dynamics of effective teaching. So the thing is that we all are teachers and good teachers, and we all know that what is teaching. We all are effective teachers, but the thing is how to make ourselves more effective. That is what the purpose of today's session is. So I welcome all effective teachers, right? Just a minute. Okay. No, it's not moving. Yes. Yes. So the first question itself is, what is teaching? Right? It's very simple thing, but it is very complicated. Because teaching as we take, it is not just making your notes, taking your syllabus, going to the classroom, delivering your lectures and come back. No, teaching is not that. That is just a part of teaching. Teaching is quite a comprehensive bag, which includes so many things. So the first thing which is very important here to know is that teacher is always in relation to a learner. So teaching is always in relation to learning. Teaching is your pedagogy, which is related with so many factors, and learning is the education which you derive out of that pedagogy, which is used by you and your teachers as a combo. So as this slide itself tells us so many things about what a teaching may be. as you see that the innermost part is comfort zone. Everybody wants to be in comfort zone, and comfort zone is where you feel safe, you feel that you are in control of everything, you know about everything, you know the movements, that is how you can control them, you can predict them, so it is very safe. And whenever there is any chance of any kind of change into that safe zone, then it makes you a little fearful. You can see the second zone is the fear zone. It makes you fearful. Why? Because there are so many apprehensions, there are so many questions. It's a new thing, whether I'll be able to do it, in what way it will be done, whether this is going to add anything to me, whether I'll be able to control it. There are so many questions. So what do? You try to find some excuses. Ki nahi, nahi, I'm very comfortable, I'm doing everything. But once you have to learn something new, that means you have to be ready for a change. And any kind of change situation, it creates a little fear, whether I'll be able to deliver within this new scenario or not. These are the questions which you come across. That shatters a little bit your self-confidence also. And then you try to take others' opinion, ki what is this change about? Because in a way, what is learning? Learning is nothing, but it is a modification of change. Modification in behavior, modification in your thinking, modification in your emotions, and it makes you a little moving towards the growth side, right? So dear viewers, the first thing is that we are in a comfort zone where whatever learning has already taken place, we are comfortable with that. But now the thing is that we have to make another learning possible for us. And then in between is the fear zone. We are fearful about it. But a teacher's role is to take the learner from the comfort zone, make him cross the fear zone, and make him reach to the learning zone. Why? Because learning zone is a change where you acquire new skills. You are out of your comfort zone. There are different challenges, different problems, different issues, and in a form of new learning, you try to cope, you try to learn, you try to find out as to how to deal with these new challenges and problems, right? So dear viewers, now what are we doing? We are coming out of the comfort zone, then we are a little fearful, but an effective teacher is able to remove our fears and take us to the learning zone, make us reach to the learning zone, and which is a very comprehensive, which is a very broad kind of arena where we are moving towards growth. Any learning is growth, modification, growth. And whenever we are moving towards growth zone, there are certain new goals, there are certain new objectives, there are certain new dreams, there are certain new purposes, and within the area of your potentials, now what you do, you try to maximize your potentials and minimize your limitations. So dear colleagues, this is what the teaching is. A teacher is one who takes the learner come out from the comfort zone, making him realize that there's nothing to be fearful about, make him learn new things, make him move towards growth zone so that he's motivated to perform his best. So that is what the learning is, right? So just see, this is ET. I would request all of my colleagues to take out their paper and pencil so that we could see. Now this is open for everybody. We have to, this is an activity. ET is effective teacher, right? What do you mean by effective teacher? Write 3 characteristics of them. Just couple of seconds for this activity. We have to write 3 characteristics of the effective teacher. Effective teacher means the teacher whom do you rate to be a good teacher, a best teacher kind of thing, right? Just take a couple of seconds and write 3 characteristics. Okay. Now who will take the initiative? Please unmute yourself, come out and tell me which are these 3 characteristics which you have labeled in an effective teacher. Yes. Yes, anybody, please. And let me tell you that it is not going to be a lecture kind of thing. We all are teachers, learned teachers. So we have to make each other learn new things, right? So please come up. Unmute yourself, Reyes. Yes, anybody? Come out of your comfort zone, right? And make a move towards the growth zone. So how do you conceptualize an effective teacher? Who is an effective teacher according to you? What are the three basic characteristics of an effective teacher? Whom would you label as an effective teacher? Yes, Mr. Jha. KK Jha, please come up. Shruti, Vaibhav. I can see all these good names. Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Yes, Dr. Amandeep. Yes, please.
This is Amandeep Singh from Punjabi University, Patiala.
Wow,
I think teachers should understand the main interest of students in which language they can easily understand. It is not feasible to speak every time in English language just to being impressive towards the students. I can speak easily, very fluently English language. If students can easily understand in Hindi or Punjabi, so it can be easy for them also.
Very good. So that means,
And
Dr.
second,
Raman, yes, please carry on.
and second thing is, teacher should take some examples to teach or to understand students to the topic, so that it should be very easy to understand for them that what teacher want to say about that. Like if I am teaching a data structure to them, then I should take some examples from real world so that they can easily learn about that. So whenever they should write any answer in that paper, so they can be able to learn something from that example, and
Yes.
easily they can write.
Yes, Aman. The third one.
Third, ma'am,
Okay.
I can say these two right now, which were in my mind.
Okay.
These 2 points.
That means, yes, it's very good answer by Dr. Ramandeep. And my specific question is, whom do you conceptualize as a good teacher, right? So Dr. Ramandeep said that the comfort level of student should be kept into mind as far as effective teaching is concerned. If he is comfortable, it's not just language, everything, right? Am I right, Dr. Ramandeep?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, of course, ma'am.
So language part is specifically focused by Amandeep. And then another thing is that whatever you teach, you have to give them examples from real life, so that they are more motivated, and it's a live example for them which inspires them. So these kind of things should be. And here I would like to mention one of my example. Dr. Aman is 100% right. I was basically from IIT Kanpur. So when I came to Punjab and joined Punjab University, Patiala. So what happened, I was teaching, and then one day, in the beginning, the first week itself, I saw that one of the students who was sitting at the back, he always used to play with the pen, doing like this, right? One day, the second day, third day, then I got a little troubled. So fourth day, I called him to my room and I said, what is the problem with you? Why do you just continue playing with your pen rather than attending me? And what he said is 100% what Dr. Ramandeep said. He said, मैडम जी ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਚ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕੁਝ ਕਹੋ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਚ ਕੁਝ ਕਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਆਏ and then I realized that it was not at all his fault that he was creating these kind of things in the class. The teacher has to look to himself or to herself as to why this kind of thing is taking place. And then it was an eye-opening kind of thing for me. And he was perfectly right. Why should he attend me? If he's not able to understand me, how can he attend me? How can he understand me? And that was the day when I started अपने थे मैं सब तो पहले जोर लगाया कि नहीं, I have to be efficient in the language in which people from this area, Hindi and Punjabi, that should be given. So, Dr. Ramandeep, you have raised a very relevant issue, and it is not just language, it is anything, in any way in which they are comfortable. Yes, anybody else, please? Any example of any good teacher which you have seen in your life? So at least we can keep him or her in front of us that yes, anyone? Please come up. Don't sit unmuted. Don't sit muted yourself. Yes, anyway. Now let's make a move. I'm going to give you another slide, which is talking about the example of such a teacher who has, in a way, dedicated his life for the underprivileged students. And out of 481 candidates, students who were coached by him, 422, they could clear the IIT entrance exam. And would you like to guess? Because there was a movie also. Last year, there was a movie. Hrithik Roshan played the role of that important teacher. And media has given a lot of discussion on him. Discovery Channel has made a particular documentary on him. So that was his status. But he himself was from a very not economically sound family, because he had to, and that is how he could actualize, he could really understand the problems of underprivileged. Any guess? Any guesses, please? No. Anyway, yes. He's Anand Kumar. Everybody knows now. Everybody knows about him. He's from Patna, Bihar, and his program was labeled as Super 30 program. He used to coach underprivileged students for preparing them IIT exams. And I told you the data in 2018, 481 students they appeared, and 422 they could make entry to IIT. Discovery Channel. And then 2019 there was a film. It was portrayed on Anand Kumar only. The name was Super 30. Just see what was he doing? What kind of teacher he was? Was he teacher taking Pila Panna, going to the class? Pila Panna, I am so fed up of using this word, but I do use, because I observe that many of us, not all of us, but many of us, they make our notes first year, second year, third year, fourth year by the time. And we do fight a lot for any kind of no change in the syllabus. Why? Because Pila Panna is already there, where everything is ready made. So was he a teacher of that kind? I would say never. Just see what kind of role he has played as a teacher. And there are numerous examples. Anand Kumar is just one of them. So just see, Parker and Palmer, they are the educational psychologists. They say that teaching, like any true human activity, it emerges from one's own inwardness. Why? Because 3-4 things are put together in teaching. Number 1 is the teacher. Number 2 is the learner. Number 3 is my subject. And Parker and Palmer says that these three things I do put together, and I project them in form of my soul. I put my soul into this combo. This combo is me, my learner, and my subject. And that is what the whole scene goes on. So, dear viewers, teaching should never be misconcepted with the word of teacher, where we take our notes, we go to the classroom, we have a structured syllabus, blah blah blah. We did that's the thing. We came back. No, that's not the teacher. That's just one aspect of teaching. Now let's open the curtain and see what does come out here. We are opening the curtain. Yes, curtain is open. Now what is coming out of this thing? Before we talk about what is coming out of this curtain, I would say The teacher is always in relation to students, so it is an interactive process. It is a communication where the sender and the receiver, both of them, they are together. And they are together. Why? Because there is a goal to be achieved. Goal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There may be numerous goals. But sender, the teacher, receiver, the student. So that is how the whole scene comes. That is why I have raised the curtain. What is coming out of it? Teacher. Teacher's personality, teacher's personal resources, teacher's knowledge, teacher's self, teacher's attitude, aptitude, interest, and everything which could be made possible in the teacher. And then over and above, teacher's own body language, teacher's own communication, because teaching is a communication process. Second thing comes out of this curtain is the learner. Learner means whom you are going to address. And what is the third thing? Now, please make sure that everybody participates, right? Because there are so many question marks. Teacher and learner, they have to be together. Why? Because dash, dash, dash. And what are these dash, dash, dash? What would you like to fill in this third blank, please? Yes, raise your hands. Come up, please. Yes. Yes, please. This is open for everybody. And I think by this time, Dr. Namandeep has put up a model for everyone, the way he could raise these important issues. Yes. What would you like to fill your blanks from? What would you like to keep here? Okay. If you are not coming up, that means are you sleeping? Yes, Shruti, are you there? Shruti, because it's quite dicey, because there's no video, there's no audio also. Dr. Jha, are you there? Okay, don't answer, but at least let me know whether you are there or not. Okay. Rimal, are you there? Vaibhav? I don't know. How are you attending this course? Yes. Dr. Navdeep, how do you make the things moving? Because even if they don't have to answer the things, at least they have to unmute themselves so that I could see where are my participants. Are they there or they are not there? But anyway, so this question mark, it has so many things. It is the content which is to be used. It is the method which is to be used. It is the style which is to be used. The personality of the teacher, which is important. The personality of the learner, which is important. So many things which are being put here. So when these three things are made into a combo form, having consistency and consonance with each other, then only we do talk about effective teaching, right? So effective teaching is a kind of jigsaw puzzle where different bits are put, and when these bits are put together in a definite form, then only that puzzle is solved. And which are these bits? Just see: learner, the content, expectations, teacher, and then of course the method. All these 5 things are put together, and putting them together, it leads to the progress. It is academic achievement, personality achievement, attainment of their goals, the progress, and all these things, they are dependent on learner, teacher, content, method, expectations, learner's expectation, teacher's expectation, parental expectation. And when all these things are put together in the form of bits, and these bits are put in a structural form, then only we say that the puzzle is solved, right? So puzzle is solved, and when it is solved, this is the finding of one of the research by Hillcrist, where he says that progress and achievement of the learner, it is dependent on various different factors. Which are these? Two broad categories, that is teaching and learning. And teaching and learning, they are surrounded by different factors which are related with teaching, related with learning, and in particular environmental factors where this teaching and learning is taking place. Just see. Now there'll be bombardment of different factors. Yes. Yes. This is the study by Hopkins and McGill-Christ, and this study does talk about teachers' personality, students' personality, teachers' method of teaching, teachers' disciplinary methods, teachers' management of the class, teachers taking up the syllabus, teachers' own personal resources, that means apart from teaching, what are his or her potentials, and then which content is to be taught. Then these left-hand side factors, they are related with the student's personality, students' learning style, students' way of stress management, students' limitations, students' potentials, students' assets. And then there is one thing which is left blank. What would you like to fill this blank with? Yes, there is one column which is blank. What would you like to put here? Yes, anybody? Yes, please raise your hands. Anyway, this is the current scenario, because in the current scenario, those physical classrooms, they are not that much possible, and much learning is taking place, much teaching is taking place on the basis of virtual forms. So this blank column is the new addition to the research, that is the virtual form of teaching. Virtual form, that is online teaching. There are so many apps which are available. So the teaching and the learning progress, it depends on all these factors, and these factors combined together, they decide what will be the attainment and the achievement of teaching goals. So another research says that teaching is not just taking up your syllabus, going to the class, doing it. Rather, the first important thing, as even Dr. Ramandeep very beautifully said, that examples are to be given so that things become more involving for both, for learner as well as for teacher also. But let's see about this research, which just talk about the teaching climate as to how this climate is to be created. Just see, number one, clear context of each lesson. It's not just opening your books or opening your notes and trying to make them aware of that this is what I'm going to know. Context, the background, the preamble, particular where that particular lesson is coming from, that should be created so that it creates that kind of involvement to the whole scene. Another factor which research does talk about is that clear context of each lesson, it creates an attractive environment. Attractive environment. Now you are keen to see as to what is coming up. Third thing which the researchers are coming up, and even Dr. Ramandeep has very sensibly talked about, that the thing should be stimulating, and if they are stimulating to the students, they'll be interesting for them. And if it is not stimulating for them, it will never be interesting for them. And then the fourth and the final thing is that participation, which is if Dr. Ramandeep has not participated, would have not been participated, I would say, which is zero in this particular group where we are interactive with. Participation means variety of discussion, variety of activity. Well, what is the role? Variety of discussion and activity, it makes the teacher and the learner feel connected with each other, feel involved in the whole learning scene, and that adds real knowledge to what effective teaching is. So the climate part, researchers say that whenever we prepare any lesson, these four factors, they are to be kept into consideration. And then another thing which researchers do talk about, what is the role of teacher? As we have already seen that there is comfort zone, so nobody wants to come out of comfort zone. Why? Because then there is a fear zone. So make the students aware that comfort zone and fear zone is not exactly what is important in life. Rather, make them realize that learning zone is the life. Take them to the learning zone so that they could move to the growth zone, which is the ultimate goal of teaching. So researchers say in doing all these kind of jobs, what is the role of teacher? The role of teacher is not just sitting and giving online classes or giving virtual classes or going to the class physically and giving the, no, just see, facilitator, to create that kind of environment where the student, he or she herself is motivated to talk about, to get involved, to be connected, and to feel good about the things. The teacher has to be a partial guide. As again, I would say, Dr. Ramandeep said, because of language, maybe that there are many intelligent students, but because we as not very good teacher has put language as the bar. So now what happens? Even if they want to involve, they want to participate, they are not able to participate. क्यों? क्योंकि वो एक बैरियर है कि हमें अंग्रेजी नहीं आती, हम उतना फ्लुएंट नहीं बोल पाते. तो जो टीचर, जो इफेक्टिव टीचर है, उसका रोल है कि वो एक इम्पार्शियल गाइड है सबके लिए. जो बिल्कुल किनारे कोने में बैठा हुआ है ना, जो चुपचाप शांत बैठा है, उसके लिए भी हमारी टीचिंग उतनी इम्पोर्टेंट है, और वो भी हमारे लिए उतना इम्पोर्टेंट है जितना आगे बैठा हुआ वो स्टूडेंट जो अंग्रेजी में चटर चटर करना चाहता है. राइट, द टीचर, इफेक्टिव टीचर इज इम्पार्शियल गाइड, creator of knowledge, that everybody would agree that. But now, dear viewers, make sure that things have changed now. So the teacher's role is not at all just giving knowledge, because you can give a click of your mouse and the whole knowledge is there. But teacher's role is to facilitate so that that kind of knowledge is being assimilated, received and assimilated by the student. Manager, managing the classroom, managing the virtual platform. The teacher is a counselor. As I said, that the student who is sitting at the back, very quiet, not at all involving, a counselor teacher is always going to focus on what may be the reason. Inspire, the teacher has to inspire, teacher has to create that environment where the student himself comes up with different issues. Teacher has to organize what? Organize the teaching, learning, content, method, everything in a platform beautifully. That's the role of a teacher. And then ultimately, teacher is a self-evaluator. He should go on evaluating himself also. What am I doing as a teacher? Like here, nobody is participating, nobody is coming up. So that shows everyone should look at oneself. What kind of teacher I am? Why am I not coming up? What is that hindrance? Is there any personality problem? Am I going to have a very passive kind of self? Am I not needed to work on the self-development? Or what was the hesitation that I was not coming up for any kind? After all, we are not students, we are teachers, right? तो वो एक सेल्फ इवेल्युएटर का काम है. तो इस तरीके से एक टीचर का रोल जो है वो सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि हमने पीला पन्ना पकड़ा और क्लास में गए और किया और चले आए सिलेबस के अंदर. नहीं, टीचर के रोल तो ये सिर्फ इतने अभी रिसर्च में आए हैं. There may be many more ways also where the teacher, the effective teaching is to be associated with. Just see, a teacher who goes to the class and describe the things, a describing kind of teacher, just to describing the things. A teacher who goes to the class describes the things, but side by side tells the reason also that this phenomena is taking place. Why is it taking place? Explaining the things. Even that person is a teacher who goes to the class, tells the thing, that is, describes the thing, explains, tells them the reason also, and then, as Dr. Amandeep said, demonstrate also through live examples of one's own self, live examples of some other people also. So it is telling, explaining, and demonstrating. What will be the fourth one? What would you like to add there? Yes, Dr. Amandeep? If it is the fourth circle, telling, explaining, demonstrating, and then what would you like to add to that? Yes. Yes, anybody please? Okay. Here you add one thing, that is the inspirational part, the inspirational role of a teacher. So telling, explaining, demonstrating, and inspiring. That is what the full combo is, which is labeled as the different roles of teacher. So everybody has to see what is my status as a teacher. Is it the first circle or the second circle or the third circle or the fourth circle? If it is the first circle, that means हम तो सरे राह चलते चलते टीचर बन गए, टीचर जैसा कुछ एग्जैक्टली है नहीं. If it is second circle, you can very well see where are you. If it is third circle or it is the fourth circle, depends on what kind of teacher you are. So on the basis of the whole researches, there are 4 categories in which teachers can be grouped. Number 1 is competent and committed. Competence is the ability, how able you are, whether you have got the teaching aptitude, whether you have got that particular mastery over the subject which you have to teach. All these things, they are the competence. So competence is the mastery. Competence is the ability to teach. And commitment is the motivation part. In case you have the ability, the second thing which is important is, are you motivated to actualize your ability in teaching? If yes, I would say it's a perfect teacher who is competent and who is committed also. But things are not that ideal. Many times it happens, teachers are competent, that means ability is there, teaching aptitude is there, teacher has the knowledge, teacher knows how to control the class, teacher knows the nerve of the student, but he is not motivated to do anything. He is not committed, he is not motivated. So ability is there, but motivation is not there, but still he is teaching. Now you can see what is your which is your group. Are you number 2? If not number 2, not number 1. Third thing, which is very, very dangerous, very dangerous. What is that? Teacher is committed but not competent. Any teacher does not have ability, but he has the motivation to teach. Just see how dangerous the teacher is, because teacher is not able to teach. Teacher does not have this subject mastery. Teacher has no control on the students. Teacher has no nerves, control over the nerves of the student. Not aware of the learning styles of the students. He's not able, but he's highly motivated to teach. Just see what kind of teaching he'll do, because motivation is perfect there, right? So make sure that and then fourth category, where the teacher is not competent and not committed. Both the things are 0. Neither he has the ability nor he has the motivation, but still he is a teacher. What kind of teacher it is? And dear viewers, be honest in finding out what is your category. Out of these 4 categories, just sit quiet, keep your eyes closed, and try to find out which is your category. Is it number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 4? And if it is number 4, I would say अब तो सरे राह चलते चलते टीचर बन गए. टीचर बनना कभी भी हमारी लाइफ का कोई एम नहीं था, कोई गोल नहीं था. तो किस तरीके की टीचिंग हम दे रहे हैं? अगर हम कॉम्पिटेंट और कमिटेड हैं, ये तो एक आइडियल कंडीशन है, चलो बहुत अच्छी बात है. नंबर 2, हम कॉम्पिटेंट हैं मगर मोटिवेशन नहीं है. आता है, हमको पढ़ाना आता है, सब चीजें हमारे कंट्रोल में है, बट पढ़ाने की मोटिवेशन ही नहीं है. तो हम क्या करेंगे? क्लास में जाएंगे? शायद नहीं. कैसे सिलेबस करेंगे? शायद बहुत सारे शायद है. थर्ड कैटेगरी जहां पर कि हम कमिटेड, तो बहुत डेंजरस कैटेगरी है. हमको मोटिवेशन है पढ़ाने की, बट पढ़ाने की एबिलिटी नहीं है. तो डियर व्यूअर्स, आप खुद देखिए कि आपकी कौन सी कैटेगरी है, और चुपचाप होकर के शांत बैठेंगे तो आपको बहुत जल्दी अपनी कैटेगरी पता चल जाएगी कौन सी है. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4. Be honest to yourself, right? So here comes the role of teacher, and we'll structure the session in such a way that we'll talk about the personality of the teacher, and then we'll talk about the learning style of the student, learning style of the learner, right? So researchers say that self of the teacher is a very significant variable affecting the classroom and otherwise teaching also, because educational impact is not due solely to what he teaches or to what he knows, but it is attributed to what kind of self he holds. What is the psyche of a teacher? That is what is important. What is the personality of the teacher? What is the thinking patterns of the teacher? How optimistic, positive, professionally and personally the teacher is. So this part will be located to that thing. Why? Because as I said, that teaching is a communication process, sender and receiver. So the sender's personality is very, very important, because that is what is going to decide the flavor of the teaching, right? Just see, there is one social intelligence company known as Tracom. It has talked about personality style model, where he is dealing with different personality styles, and these different personality styles in a teacher, they do affect the teaching part. Yes. Number one is analytical. Who is this teacher? This teacher believes much more in the analysis part. He's a process oriented. His communication is more hovered around facts, figures, data, planning, controlling, these kind of over indulging into facts part, the data part, the figures part. And whenever he goes to the class, he focuses on maps, charts, giving different figures, different statistics, and he's busy in analyzing. So this is the analytical, that is the process oriented teacher. Number two, this is the driver teacher. Driver teacher who does not believe at all in analysis. He has the syllabus, he just runs to the class. He is a dominating kind of person. He'll start with 1, he'll end up with 10, without having any consideration of whether anybody is listening or anybody is involved. No, he is very much clear that he has to complete his syllabus. That's it. So performance, the result, achievement, this is all determined by whether the syllabus is completed in time or not, because this driver, he always keeps running, action oriented, dominating kind of person. And he's such an over action oriented kind of person that many a times he compromises on the quality of lecture. Why? Because he's just running. The third thing is, the third category is the people oriented teacher. And they are always busy in finding out the personal needs, personal drives, personal motives, feelings and beliefs, and this is very good. This is a counselor teacher, but they are so much concerned with the emotional part of the learner that many a times their academic part, it is just missed out. Their professional part as teacher is always missed there. Why? Because they are involved with the personal part, the emotions, the feelings, majorly of the student. The fourth category, this is the idea oriented researcher. You would see that there are various teachers who are very good teachers, but very bad researchers, and vice versa also. You will see that there are various teachers who are very not very good teacher, but they are very good researcher. And I would here mention one of the example. A teacher used to always, he was a very good teacher. He used to go to the class and teach. What happened? We were very open about taking the feedback of our students. So by the end of the semester, we used to take the feedback. And one of the teacher, he was always rated on a very lower side, but he was a very good teacher. So he went back to the class. He asked the students, "Why I do my best to teach you, but why do you always rate me on a very lower tone as far as my teaching is? So I want to know how should I improve and where does the fault lie?" And I still remember students, they said, "Sir, आपको बहुत ज्यादा आता है, आप बहुत सारी चीजें फैला लेते हैं और इतना ज्यादा फैला लेते हैं कि फिर उसको समेटना मुश्किल हो जाता है आपके लिए." Why? Because maybe that person was a researcher teacher. Research, new ideas, new innovations, new ways of doing things, being more and more creative, seeing all possibilities. And all these things, they are spread in the teaching of that person, and as a result, the actual part, it goes back somewhere else. The thing is that all these teachers, they seem to be very, very important as far as the last slide, that is roles of teacher, we have seen. Facilitator, controller, the manager, all these things are there. But what happens? It is very good to be analytical for a teacher. It is very good to be a driver. It is very good to be amiable and a researcher. The thing is that a teacher has to be an ideal combo of all these 4 personality styles. It's not that he's going on one side. He's analytical, so he's over analyzing the things. Driver, so he's over driving. Sometimes what happens? Just see, analytical teacher, the driver teacher, the amiable teacher, and researcher teacher. An effective teacher, it combines all these 4 roles together. And that is how the teaching is the effective teaching. Whenever need, he becomes personal with the student. Whenever data is obtained, that he becomes analytical with them. Whenever things are to be started, he is very creative with them. And when all this creativity and analysis and counseling part is done, then he has to complete the things within deadline also. So he's a driver teacher. But the thing is, the teacher should know how to make a balance between these 4 personality styles. And if he's able to make the balance, it's very good. Otherwise, generally what happens? It happens like this. Analytical teacher, when it goes much more into the analysis part, he becomes the critical judge. Always finding out the unrealistically, keeping unrealistically high standards and always finding out the faults within them. No, it will not do. Driver teacher, what does he do? He always runs my way, focused, and then quality is compromised. Just see, driver teacher does like this, just running, always running, syllabus in the hands, and then running for completing it. He's going to the class, he's coming back from the class, going to the class, coming back from. This is a driver teacher, right? बहुत खुशी खुशी जा रहे हैं क्लास में, भागते हुए जा रहे हैं, क्यों? क्योंकि इनको ब्ला 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 जो लेके आए ये खत्म करना सब. एमिएबल टीचर, हमेशा पीपल प्लीजर टाइप. पीपल प्लीजर मतलब सब लोग खुश रहे, ये भी खुश रहे, ये भी खुश रहे, ये भी खुश रहे. तो it becomes more close to them. It becomes more personal to them. Always concerned with the feelings and the emotional part. अभी क्या है, सिलेबस कहीं का कहीं चला गया, बाकी रोल टीचर के कहीं से कहीं चले गए, कोई टाइम बाउंड्री नहीं है, और he wants that everybody should be happy with him. And this is good that everybody should, but that is not the primary goal. Amiable has to be merged with the driver, has to be merged with the analytical, has to be merged with the researcher. अभी रिसर्चर क्या है, इनके बारे में हमने देखा, इतना सारा डेटा, इतना सारा काम है, सब पूरा फैला लिया, फैला करके उठा नहीं पा रहे. ये देखिए इनकी कहानी क्या है. ये this is what the researcher is. The data, the facts, the figures, and then still she is not able to. And so this stage is labeled by psychologists as the moratorium stage. Moratorium is questions. And a question, when the question is answered, then compile the things, question and answer together. But no, this teacher is always busy finding out. Moratorium stage, that is. So, dear teachers, make sure that by all these 4 important attributes, you should know how to make a balance, balancing your driver teacher, your analytical teacher, your researcher teacher, and then of course your amiable teacher. Then only all the roles of a teacher, they'll be able to be completed perfectly. After this kind of personality, you have seen that yes, the teacher makes a balance between all the 4. Now the question comes, what is the educational philosophy of you as a teacher? Because your educational philosophy, this is going to decide what kind of teaching method you are going to use, what kind of approach you are going to use as far as your pedagogy is concerned, right? So just see, teaching theories, they do talk about this kind of figure, where basically we do talk about two parameters, the teacher-centered approach and student-centered approach. And the two other parameters are high-tech and low-tech. So these four columns, they do tell us about high-tech teacher-centered, low-tech teacher-centered, high-tech student-centered, low-tech student-centered. But before we go into the details, first let's see what is this teacher-centered and what is this student-centered. What is meant by it? Yes, teacher-centered. A teacher is like a Hitler kind of. What I said is the ultimate thing, right? Formal authority is teacher. Teacher is not concerned with how students are going to respond to him. Teacher is always concerned with his own way of looking at the things. No lift is given to the students for participation. It is one way from this side to them, this side to them. Why? Because he is the expert. He is the expert. His own model, personal model, is the important thing. So he is the model. He has to be copied. He has to be imitated. What he says is the ultimate reality. He is the formal authority, the final authority. No more discussion. Right? So one way from here to others. Now, teacher-centered approach, when it is the educational philosophy of a teacher that he tries to adopt a teacher-centered approach, what does he do? He views the students as the empty vessels. खाली बर्तन है, जो चाहे वो हम इनमें भरें. Empty vessels. And my job is to fill up those vessels the way I want them. It is all whims and fantasies of the teacher. Another characteristics of teacher-centered approach is that students, they are viewed as the passive observers, the passive, in the stage of perfect passivity. In the stage of perfect passivity, they receive knowledge, receiving knowledge from the lecture, from the preachings kind of things which are being done by the teacher. And what does teachers say? Teachers' important role is concerned with the testing and assessment, completing the syllabus, and then at the end of that, testing and assessment, their grades, that is what the ultimate real. What they have actually learned is not the approach. What they have actually performed is the approach. So teacher-centered is like this. One size fits all. Like we would see that different students, they have different learning styles, but this teacher is not at all aware of this data. He makes it sure that whatever one way of teaching he decides, this is universally applicable on all of them. One size fits all. He is not concerned with the diverse needs of students. हर बच्चे की एक अपनी अपनी नीड होती है, एक अपना एक सोचने समझने का तरीका होता है, एक अपनी लर्निंग स्टाइल्स होती हैं. बट ये यहाँ पे इन सबसे इनका कोई लेना देना नहीं. इनकी टीचिंग जो है वो प्रिडोमिनेट करती है स्टूडेंट की लर्निंग स्टाइल कौन कौन सी है, जिसके आधार पे हम अपनी टीचिंग स्टाइल डिसाइड करें. That is not at all important there, because they are hardly concerned with what is taking place on the other side. It is just me. And reason is that classroom is quiet. Nobody is participating, nobody is involving. And whatever information is being given, just see. This is the story. Students, they are sleeping in the class. Why? Because it is purely teacher-centered approach. Purely teacher-centered approach. No involvement, not at all connectedness. Just see. Yes. This is a teacher-centered approach. Yes. And many of us may be doing the same thing here as a teacher also. Though we are students, but we may be doing these things. Anyway, another approach is the student-centered. What is the role here? The things are very different, because here the teacher is a facilitator. Teacher's role is not to lecture. Teacher's role is to make that environment where the students themselves are motivated to learn. Teacher puts oneself as the model, as the one who ignites the thinking part of the student. He's a delegator. The main role is to foster a sense of autonomy in the students so that they are motivated for the learning process. So they are facilitators, they put their own personal model, but they do not dictate the students. It is not just lecturing kind of thing from one side to another. Rather, what do? They create a kind of environment which fosters a sense of autonomy, a sense of independence in the students. It is the role of the delegator. So teacher is a delegator, the teacher is a facilitator, the teacher is putting one's own model, the rest is for the students to go for. As we have seen that teacher-centered approach, it was more the passive learning process, but student-centered approach, it is more of active learning process, active, where everyone is actively involved. And as we have already seen that the teacher's role is that of a facilitator. Facilitator means whatever limitations are there in the learners, they have to be minimized by creating that kind of environment. And whatever assets are there in the learners, the teacher creates that environment where those assets, they are enhanced, they are maximized. So that is the primary role of a teacher facilitator, right? And kind of assessment, that kind of assessment which we have seen in the teacher-centered approach, it was purely formal assessment. But here there are group projects, there are classroom participation, there are students activity centers. So how much the student participates in all these things, that is also taken as one of the criteria of internal assessment. So assessment is both formal as well as informal. Student is at the center in this student-centered approach. Student is at the center. His own individualized needs, his own individualized strategies, his own individualized learning styles, they are important. Why? Because teacher's role is just to create the environment. Rest is done by the student. Diverse needs of the students, they are taken into consideration, and that is why they are put into to work individually or in pair with each other, so that facilitating part is being focused in them. It is not the performance only, but it is learning. Learning is meaningful. It involves extensive planning, classroom management is there. Students are working together, so it generates ideas. They are actively involved, the whole same. So, dear viewers, choice is yours. Which kind of approach you would like to create in the classroom that comes out of your own educational philosophy, your own personality. So always keep a check on your person, your own self, and your own educational philosophy too. Researchers, they have time and again shown that a student who was not at all keen to go to the class. Why? Because the approach was teacher oriented. And when the approach was changed from teacher oriented to student oriented, they really became involved into that, engaged into that. So that is what the role of student-centered approach is. And that is why in the new education policy, what is there? Group activities, group participation, group discussions, all these things, they are focused so that engagement is there on the part of learners. More transformation takes place in form of the learners. As far as this part is concerned, it says that mind, it is not the empty vessel, but mind is not a vessel at all. Mind is something where some sort of ignition is required. It's a fire to be ignited. Fire, yani isko itna, it is full of potential. The only thing is that it has to be motivated to put in their best, rather than an empty vessel में जो चाहे. टीचर सेंटर्ड अप्रोच कहती है कि माइंड जो एम्प्टी वेसल है, स्टूडेंट का जो चाहो उसमें भरते जाओ अपनी मर्जी से. बट स्टूडेंट सेंटर्ड अप्रोच कहती है कि नहीं, ये वेसल नहीं है, ये तो फायर है जिसमें कि एक तीली लगा, और ये जो है वो अपनी फुल ब्लोन फॉर्म में धू धू करके अपनी अपनी potentials को maximize करने लगे, ignite हो. And that is why this is the role of a teacher inspirer, right? Just see. देखिए इसमें सब रोल प्लेइंग है. टीचर्स भी देखिए डिफरेंट रोल्स प्ले कर रहे हैं. स्टूडेंट्स को देखिए वो भी सब अलग अलग रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं. कुछ ग्रुप एक्टिविटी हो रही है, कुछ ड्रामा डिजाइन हो रहा है, and that is how they are learning. It's not only that they are the kids, so it is possible. No, even me as a teacher always create different kind of role playing situation, social drama, psychodrama, so that learning becomes more involving and more relevant rather than just like this, right? So yes, so make sure that this is our preferred approach, that is the student-centered approach. And if we summarize both the things, teacher-centered approach is formal. Teacher is the formal authority because instruction is important. Just see, there is a difference. Instruction and construction. Teacher-centered approach is more of instruction dominated, and whereas student-centered approach is more of construction dominated. The student constructs their own concepts. They construct their own ideas. So it is direct instruction, whereas student-centered approach is inquiry-based approach. It is a sort of cooperative learning, right? देखिए, ये एक हमारी researches का वो है. In between is the transformation. A learner is transformed from behavioral to cognitive side. How? Behavioral was when the approach was purely instructional, that is teacher-centered approach, there was focus more on the behavior. But when the instruction got transformed into construction, that is when the teacher-centered approach got transformed into student-centered approach, then there was a modification not only in the behavior of the learners, but in the thought process, in the cognitive level of. So if the change has to be done, a student has to be transformed from behavioral to cognitive domains. The focus has to be on the construction side rather than the instruction side. Just instruction side focus is pure teacher oriented, whereas construction side focus is more on the student oriented. So no more teacher centered approach. Let us focus on student-centered approach only. Yes, please. Now this is the activity, a part of the game. So please, you all unmute yourself first. Dr. Navdeep, please give instruction to the participants that they all have to unmute themselves.
Apply what there? Apply Anna.
Yes. Dr. Navdeep. Hello, Dr. Navdeep.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Just tell all the participants to unmute themselves because we are going to do an activity here, right?
Yes, participants, please be interactive.
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
at least chat in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
They are
Take out
here.
your paper pencil. Yes, take out your paper pencil and just see what are we going to do, right? Yes, this is quiz number 1, right? Quiz number 1 says there are 3-4 issues with the teacher, and then you have to see if these kind of issues are there in the teaching, or how do the students feel about the whole scene. The teacher was presenting facts without a context, right? Teacher was doing the majority of the talking without involving the student. Teacher was directing the students every move, what to do, how to do, where to do, why not to do. Teacher was supplying most of the answers, and teacher was not discussing his or her thought process out loud, right? So these are 5 characteristics of this teaching environment. Now the question is, you have to give 3 points when these kind of teaching process is going on. How does a student feel about them? 3 चीजें बताइए कि जब इस तरीके का टीचर है तो स्टूडेंट की फीलिंग्स क्या होंगी. स्टूडेंट्स के व्यूज क्या होंगे, नंबर 1, नंबर 2, नंबर 3. I'll give you 1 minute for this activity. Please write on your paper. And then you all raise your hands, right? Come up. Yes, I think you all are through with your activity now. Yes, raise your hands and just let everybody know. If this is the situation, then what the student is going to feel about. Number 1, number 2, number 3. आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके अपना वीडियो लेके आए प्लेटफॉर्म पे और प्लीज आंसर करें. Yes, who will do it? One by one, everybody must do it. Jaspreet ma'am, will you please do it? Dr. Jaspreet?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you please do it? So that it becomes a model for all other participants also, that this is to be done. Yes, if this is the teaching going on, where the teacher is presenting everything without giving any context, where teacher is doing majority of the talking, where teacher is directing the student every move, where teacher is supplying most of the answers, not giving any opportunity to the students to think, the teacher is not discussing her own thinking with them, then how do the students feel about the whole things? Number 1, number 2, number 3. 3 things are important. Then I'll give my answer also. What do I think that the students are going to think about? Yes.
So, hello, madam.
Hello.
Hello, madam. So,
Adi, Adi.
according to me, I think students think that the teacher has a poor knowledge. I don't know. Yes,
Okay.
sir. No, ma'am.
Okay.
So, every students, no, madam, think like teacher has a poor knowledge in that particular subject.
Right.
Is correct or not? I don't know, madam.
No, there's nothing wrong, ma'am. Just not saying anything is the big wrong, right? So come up with anything which you think should be the answer. There's nothing right or wrong. Yes. Anybody else? Very good. May I know your name, ma'am? Hello, ma'am. What is your name?
Yes. This is Rani from Karnataka, ma'am.
Okay, okay, Rani, ma'am. Very good. Very well done. Yes, anybody else?
And in that situation, we can't control that climate or the class situation.
Right.
So she is not able to control that particular class, ma'am. So
Okay.
without good stuff in our subject,
Very good.
good
Good.
material or stuff in that particular our subject, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yes. Anybody else?
Mom, student might feel that teacher haven't prepared well.
Okay. Yes. Very good. Next. Any other point? Teacher is doing blah 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 in the class. not giving any opportunity to the student to say anything, even to think about. He is giving all the answers. Like, what am I doing? I am giving you the opportunity to think, right? Otherwise, these are the simple things. And I know that you have so many varied answers also to the same thing. But why are we doing? At least I am talking with Rani. Rani is talking with me. I am talking with Amandeep. Amandeep is talking with me. I am talking with Rimal. Rimal is talking with me. And that is how the involvement goes on. That is how connectedness. If we have to be together for a session, there must be connectedness. Then only environment, that kind of climate will be created, right? So very good, Rimal. Shall I give my answers? Number 1, 2, 3. If this is the whole scenario, I say students are going to get bored. बोरियत बहुत होगी क्लास में, क्योंकि टीचर खुद ही बोले जा रहा कोई चैलेंज है ही नहीं स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, उनको सोचने की कोई जरूरत ही नहीं, उनका पार्टिसिपेशन कहीं है ही नहीं, उनकी कोई एक्टिविटी है ही नहीं, और सो रहे हैं कि जग रहे कुछ मालूम ही नहीं। अभी हमने देखा ना टीचर सेंटर्ड अप्रोच में कैसे सो रहे वो। टीचर में भी फिजिकली प्रेजेंट, स्टूडेंट में भी फिजिकली प्रेजेंट इन द क्लास, बट otherwise he is somewhere else. He's doing, maybe watching cricket, maybe he's sitting in the movie, maybe he's with his friends. Why? Because he's lost. So if this is the kind of teaching which is purely teacher-centered approach, then this is the kind of climate which is created in the learning platform. This is it. So do we want to create this kind of platform? Never, never, never. If it is the platform created, our role as teacher is zero. Effectiveness तो बहुत दूर की बात है, हम तो जीरो टीचर है, राइट? अब आगे देखते हैं। अभी देखिए सब लोग तैयार रहिए, अपना अपना पेपर पेंसिल लेके आगे देखिए। This is quiz number 2. It says teacher was drawing on students' experiences. Teacher was keen to learn about the students' experiences. Teacher was guiding the students toward finding the answer. Teacher was not answering the questions. Teacher was igniting the students' mind so that they could find the answer. Teacher was focusing on thought process rather than preparing everything at his own. Teacher was respecting student suggestion. Right? Whatever suggestion were given by the student, teacher is respecting them. So now what do students feel when this is the kind of learning platform? Students हमारे क्या सोचते हैं? अब इसमें 5 चीजें देनी है, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? तो बोलिए प्लीज, वैभव, where are you? Are you present in the group? Vaibhav? I don't know. Sometimes it's quite there's no communication stage also, because I don't know whether Vaibhav is actually there or not. अच्छा साहब, आपका क्या स्टेटस है? Mr. K.K. Jha, are you there? I would say perhaps these people are not there. शायद ये कहने से वो आ जाएं, क्योंकि उनका वीडियो भी ऑफ है, उनका ऑडियो भी ऑफ है, बट दे सीम टू बी प्रेजेंट। अब ये सारी बड़ी डाइसी स्टेज है हमारी वर्चुअल लर्निंग स्टेज में, और मुझे नहीं लगता कि वैभव या झा साहब में कोई यहाँ पे है।
This is today's trend in also online classes.
Yeah.
Like we are just teaching and students are keeping off their webcams and mics and don't know what they are doing. Are they listening or not?
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
in those mode we are just revising ourselves.
Exactly, very right. Dr. Ramandeep is very right. How can we ask these questions to our students when we as teachers are not there, right?
I mean, in previous semester, I have taught MSc students, and there were 55 students in my class. MSc Physics. I taught them microprocessor, and whenever I asked some students any of question, only 4 to 5 students replied me, and don't know what about others. So online mode is too hectic, or without any results, than rather than physical classes.
Dr. Amandeep, you are right that physical classes are always better. But the thing is that in the current scenario, we don't have the choice, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The COVID-19 kind of situations, this
We
is the
have to
only thing.
just move this with
Yeah,
this.
at least we are doing something, at least, right?
Yes,
And
yes, ma'am.
sometimes it happens because like the way Vaibhav and Jha Sahab is not coming up. They're the teachers. They're the teachers. I don't say that they are not there. बट इतना जोश चढ़ाने के बाद तो उनको आना चाहिए ना कि कम से कम आके एक बार अपना चेहरा तो दिखाएं, कम से कम अपना अपने आप को अनम्यूट तो करें. उससे क्या होता है कि हम टीचर्स हैं ना.
Yes, ma'am.
हम क्या एग्जांपल लेके जाएंगे स्टूडेंट्स के सामने. How are we going to what kind of teacher we are हम faculty development program कर रहे हैं तो. But anyway, yes, Dr. Aman, would you like to give 1 to 3 points how
Actually, I
दरअसल
was just thinking about these points, but not come with the final results about this. Actually, I think
okay,
student can think in two ways, positive and negative. If just teacher is silent in these points, so rather he is thinking for new concepts by which he can easily uh, teach students, or he can ignore them.
yeah, right. Dr. Aman has his own point of view. This is a pure student-centered approach where the focus is majorly on the student. What is teacher doing? Teacher is trying to create that kind of climate where students are motivated to think, right? So I also gave this quiz number 2 to myself, and then what is my answer? Just see. If this is the scene where students' experiences are more important, students' answers are more important, teacher is creating that environment, that platform where students are motivated to come up with the answer. This is kind of situation that I would say that students, they feel more involved. Why? Because teacher is creating the climate and motivating the students to come up with their answers. So this is more involved. They are more curious, amused. That means they are enjoying the whole scene. They are capable of participating and they feel engaged in the whole scene, engaged, connected, right? So, dear viewers, I would say that we should always follow a student-centered approach rather than the teacher-centered approach, because teacher-centered approach is more one-sided, whereas student-centered approach is both the sides. High-tech approach, flipped classrooms where classes are recorded through some software, and then after the classes are over, then you can always go home and make those classes available for them, or make those classes available for somebody else. So flipped classrooms, they are the things which are quite common these days because of COVID-19, these things approaches, they have become very popular. UNESCO has given a data where it says that out of like in the present scenario, a virtual learning readiness kit is a compulsion for everybody. As Dr. Amandeep was, we were discussing about the whole thing. 862 million students, they are out of school because of COVID-19. And what are they? And virtual learning is still making some sort of learning possible for them through online. Of course, as Dr. Raman said, it is never as effective as classroom teaching is, but at least there is something. So power schools are very common these days. Schoology is very popular. These kind of apps like Byju's classes, there is so much advertisement. This one person is Byju Ravindran, who has started not I think 2011 he started his classes, but now because of COVID-19, everybody is popularizing one's own apps so that at least students and the learners, they are able to have some sort of so high tech has become a sort of need of the hour because of COVID-19. Low-tech approaches, they say, as I also agree with Dr. Raman, that physical presence where a sort of actual interaction is going on between a teacher and a student, this is the best thing. Nobody can be compared with it. And even researches, they show that handwritten notes, when they were provided, or when the students, they made their handwritten notes, they were able to remember them better than when the typed notes were given. These are the research findings. Other findings, they say, students who are exposed to spell check or autocorrect kind of features, those students who are using these kind of things much more, they were found to be weak in spelling and writing. Why? Because there's no need to work over here for your spellings or writing skills. Everything is available. So low-tech approach is comparatively better than the high-tech one. But researchers say that the type of learners, it depends on whether high-tech approach is to be used or low-tech approach is to be used. For that, we have to see the type of learners also. Okay, what kind of type is there, and then we have to decide which one to go for. Yes, learner, till now we were talking about one's own personality style, teaching style, centered approach. Now this is, I would like to just touch upon, because there's hardly much time left. Learner means वो जिसको आपको पढ़ाना है, जिसको आप पढ़ाने जा रहे हो, अब उसकी क्या स्टाइल है ये भी तो देखना है, तो फटाफट देखते हैं. Learning style. There are 5 different sense organs through which we receive information, and the literature shows that majorly visual, audio, and kinesthetic. These 3 senses, they are used much more in your learning, and that is what is called as your learning style. If you're using your visual, your sight much more, then you are a visual learner. If you're using your hearing much more, then you are an auditory learner. And if you are using your touch part much more, then you are a kinesthetic learner, right? ये देखिए, visual learner, let me see. This person learns more by seeing the things. इनके लिए आप क्या करें, आप बहुत सारी पिक्चर्स, डायग्राम्स, कार्टून्स, डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन, मैथ्स, डायग्राम्स, ये सारी चीजें यूज करें, क्योंकि ये विजुअल लर्नर है. जब ये सब चीजें आप यूज करेंगे अपने क्लासरूम में, तो ये इनकी लर्निंग ज्यादा अच्छी होगी, राइट? इसके अलावा दूसरी हमारी कैटेगरी है ऑडिटरी लर्नर्स. दीज पीपल, they are learning much more by hearing the things rather than seeing the things. So when they are the auditory learners, they try to avoid the eye contact so that they could basically primarily focus on themselves. बहुत से लोग होते हैं पढ़ने में, देखिए खूब जोर जोर से बोल बोल के पढ़ते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनको अपनी आवाज सुनाई देती है. और ये किस तरीके के जोर जोर से बोल के पढ़ने वाला हो, समझ लीजिए कि ऑडिटरी लर्नर है, राइट? इनके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है let me hear, because by hearing their their learning is more prominent. Let me hear. Third category is those of kinesthetic learner, that is learning by touch. They are more keen to learn the things through experience. ये स्टडी शीट्स बनाते हैं, अपने रोल प्लेइंग सिचुएशंस में बहुत ज्यादा पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, ये ग्रुप एक्टिविटीज में बहुत पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, क्योंकि ये हर चीज को एक्सपीरियंस करना चाहते हैं. कहते हैं let me experience, and they learn by experience, and that is why they are the kinesthetic learners. Like, let me experience. So now what about the personality style? Your learner can be extroverted, your learner can be introverted. If your learner is extroverted, the learner learns more by talking activities, group activities, एक दूसरे के साथ मेल जुल के, क्योंकि वो extroverted है. और आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपके क्लास में कुछ एक्सट्रोवर्टेड होंगे तो कुछ जो है वो इंट्रोवर्टेड होंगे. इंट्रोवर्टेड कैसे होंगे? जिनको एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड काम चाहिए. दे वुड अलाउ अदर्स टू स्पीक rather than they themselves talking about the things. Lectures and structured tasks, all these things are important there. Then there is thinking type of your student, then there is feeling type of the student. When your learner is a thinker type, it believes more on logic and analysis. When your learner is feeler type, then it believes more on the emotion rather than the logic. It talks about more relationships kind of things rather than the logic and the rational and the thinking part behind that. So the thing is, maybe that your learner is judge kind of, always believes in orderliness, structure, and deadlines. And sometimes your learner is a perceiver kind of thing. So it is more spontaneity, it is more flexibility. Why am I talking about these things? Whenever you are designing, like if you go by the new education policy, they are focusing more on audio visual things. They are focusing more on group activities, much more participation. Why? Because they have the researches, they are aware of the researches which say that learners' style, it may be auditory, it may be visual, it may be experiential, the learner's personality, it may be extroverted, introverted. तो कहने का मतलब है कि आपको ये पता होना चाहिए कि आपकी क्लास में सब तरह के बच्चे होंगे ना, सब तरह के बच्चे होंगे। एंड वहां पे हमारे लिए पॉसिबल नहीं होता हम सबकी लर्निंग स्टाइल करें, लेकिन जो भी हम लर्निंग मेथड अडॉप्ट करें वो कुछ ऑडियो विजुअल एक्सपीरियंशियल ग्रुप ओरिएंटेड एक्टिविटी ओरिएंटेड जरूर हो, जैसे हमारी न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी बताती है, जिससे कि हमारे सारे लर्नर्स जो है वो उनको हम एक कंप्लीट पैकेज दे सके एज द इफेक्टिव टीचर। सो दिस इज व्हाट योर लर्नर इज, सी इट, hear it, experience it. That is what your role is there. 3-4 चीजें बहुत जरूरी हैं एज टीचर। पहली बात तो खुद इन्वॉल्व होइए क्लास में, जिनको आप पढ़ाने जा रहे हैं आपका पार्टिसिपेशन क्या है। पार्टिसिपेशन का मतलब बोलते रहना नहीं है, कितने इन्वॉल्वमेंट के साथ आप बोल रहे हैं। क्लासरूम एक्सपीरियंस को बाहर की लाइफ से कनेक्ट करिए। ऐसी बात अभी डॉक्टर रमन ने भी कही थी कि ऐसे एग्जांपल्स दीजिए जहां पर कि रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन जो है वो वहां पे चीजें पाई जाएं। आस्क क्वेश्चंस सो दैट योर स्टूडेंट थिंक्स अबाउट देम, एंड यू कैन गिव criticism also, but it has to be given in the positive tone. Try to create stimulating environment so that there is much more discussion. For you, this is very important that you remain on the task rather than going somewhere else. No, be focused on the task which you are talking about. And now you have to be an open-minded kind of things, because your students might be having some ideas which may be even better than what you have. So always be open to receive them also. अभी टाइम हो गया इसलिए मैं ये एक्टिविटी नहीं कराऊंगी, इसको हम स्किप करते हैं। बट मैं एक सर्वे मैंने किया जिसमें स्टूडेंट से बहुत सारी चीजें पूछी। किसी ने भी ये नहीं कहा कि अच्छा टीचर वो है जिसके पास पीएचडी की डिग्री हो, नहीं, सबने ये कहा। किसी ने कहा इंटरेस्टिंग क्लासेस हो, किसी ने कहा नॉलेज हो सब्जेक्ट की, किसी ने कहा अपनी पर्सनालिटी अच्छे से जाने, किसी ने कहा हमारी पर्सनालिटी अच्छे से जाने। But survey report, not even one mentioned that I need a teacher who is a PhD or who is a B.Ed or who is no. So that is important. But in the classroom, your student, they need something else rather than just these things. So just, dear viewers, see, this is your role. Yes. Making students transcend their limitations. They should have this kind of faith on you as teacher that you will hold them whenever they are about to fall. ये आपकी empathy अपील है, आपकी emotional अपील है. Yes, hooray, wow, क्या बात है. That is what you are going to create. Is intellectual excitement in the class. So whenever you come to the class, they are there to have this kind of discussions with you. Just see, आप क्या कर रहे हैं, आप अपने बच्चे को, अपने स्टूडेंट को हाथ पकड़ के उस जगह पे ले जा रहे हैं, उस ग्रोथ ओरिएंटेशन में ले जा रहे हैं जो कि आपकी टीचिंग का गोल है. Fly high with the students, and your students should have complete faith on you that you will be able to take him to the greater heights of his potentials. Yes, this is the pick which I am so fond of. Your student should have faith on you. आपने उसको उछाला तो है, लेकिन गिरने के पहले आप उसको पकड़ लोगे, आप उसको थाम लोगे. That is what the confidence is. That is what your role as a counselor, as a facilitator, as a teacher is, and whatnot. That is what the conclusion of effective teaching is. Just see. Just see hurdles. कितने hurdles हैं और आपका स्टूडेंट कैसे उनको क्रॉस करना है. ये कितने कठिन हैं. आपने क्या उसके अंदर, ये देखिए हर्डल्स को कैसे क्रॉस कर रहा है. ये देखिए कॉम्पिटिटिव वर्ल्ड में क्या विगर है जो आपने क्रिएट किया अपने स्टूडेंट. ये देखिए आंखें निकलने का. ये देखिए बॉडी लैंग्वेज देखिए इनकी. This is your student. सारी हर्डल, सारे बैरियर्स, कहीं पानी है, कहीं रेत है, उसको क्रॉस करते हुए देखिए. ये देखिए आपने क्या कॉन्फिडेंस पैदा किया. आपने उसके पोटेंशियल्स को कहां तक आप लेके गए. ये देखिए दिस इज योर स्टूडेंट. आपने फिलॉसफी दी, तेरे गिरने में भी तेरी हार नहीं कि तू आदमी है अवतार नहीं. And that is what the role of a teacher is. So dear viewers, becoming an effective teacher is not at all acquiring a bag full of tricks, but growing into a human being who is capable of giving a teacher counselor, a teacher facilitator, teacher inspirer, and what not we have been discussing about since last 1.5 hours. So thank you so much, dear viewers, for being so patient with me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Nadeep, thank you so much for calling me here.
For being with us. Your session is so wonderful, so amazing. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for joining us for the session for this program.
Thank you, Dr. Navdeep. Thank you so much for calling me and associating me with so many people of different areas of India, right? And I really enjoyed working with you. Thank you, Dr. Navdeep.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for being
Thank
with
you.
us. Thank you, ma'am.
Nadeep, good afternoon. Rajit Sikka from TCS Delhi. Can you hear me, Nadeep? Can you hear me? You're
Sorry,
on mute.
sir. You've been there from last 20 minutes.
Can you make?
Please,
Can you
Chandra
make?
sir is also there. We
Yeah, so
welcome you
you have
here,
to make.
sir.
Yeah, can you make Sushil Chandra the presenter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so before Sushil starts, thank you very much, Navdeep, and all faculty members all across the country. Thank you very much for coming for this session. TCS has been having a relationship with the academia since we incepted, and over the years we do a lot of student connect programs, a lot of faculty connect programs, a lot of internships. We look forward to doing research collaborations with the academia. We do a lot of gaming contests. I have a huge regard and a huge respect and a huge love for your college. Ideally, especially why? Because one, incidentally, both Sushil and I were the part of the accreditation team when we did accreditation of yours. I was again a part of the accreditation team when we upgraded you from C to B. So I've seen how wonderfully your college have progressed, You had one gentleman called Professor Jha, who went back to his state about a couple of years back, and he stayed with you for about 15-20 years. So I have huge respect for your college. So here again, my colleague Sushil is going to talk about business 4.0, digitization. He's going to talk about the new way of learning in COVID world called SPWS, which the earlier professor was just talking about. My only request to all professor here would be that over the next 1.5 hours or 1 hour or so, when my colleague Mr. Chandra is going to talk on the same, please listen to him, and then we could take his questions after he's finished. So, ma'am, you could introduce Sushil, and then Sushil could take it forward. मैम आप म्यूट पे हो, you're on mute. आप म्यूट पे हो.
May we introduce sir?
Yeah, you can introduce Sushil, sir. You can introduce him.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Over to Jasprit, ma'am. Please kindly introduce today's guest speaker for this FDP. Over to Jasprit, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to all. I Jasprit from behalf of Department of Business Administration, Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Ludhiana. Welcome you to this 2-week FDP program sponsored by AICTE under AICTE. Now I would like to introduce our today's expert speaker, Mr. Sushil Chandra. Sushil Chandra is an engineer and manager by academics, having done his BTech and then MBA degrees. He have over 2.5 decades of industry experience serving in various industry verticals like energy resources and utilities, supply chain banking, government services, retail, shipping and logistics, etc. His experience span role of consulting IT strategies, large program execution, delivery, pre-sale, transformational deals, technological solutioning, IT studies, training and coaching, etc., including solutioning in latest digital technology service space. He calls himself hardcore executioner. He is PMP, means project management professional, and TOGAF, that is the Open Group Architect Framework certified. He has served various geographics across the globe in UK, USA, and India for several years with reputed national and international clients. Currently, he is serving as a solution architect for an industry vertical in TCS. We welcome you here, sir, and over to you now. Sushil, sir.
We welcome you here, sir.
Yeah, he's just joining in a minute. 1 minute. Give him 1 minute, please.
Sure, sir, sure.
We
Yeah, he's
welcome you
back.
here,
He's
sir.
back. Sushil, आप म्यूट पे हो. Sushil, we cannot hear anything.
Not audible, sir. You are not audible, sir.
Let me call him 1 sec. Give me a minute. सुशील, वो ऑडिबल नहीं हो आप? एक बार उसको एक बार उसको अनम्यूट करके म्यूट करो. अनम्यूट करो. या अनम्यूट हो गया आप? आप बोलो. नो. हेलो. नहीं आ रही सर, आवाज नहीं आ रही. हाँ, एक बार हाँ डिस्कनेक्ट करो. ओके. या सॉरी नवदीप, वो डिसकनेक्ट करके दोबारा रिकनेक्ट कर रहे हैं.
मे बी उनके हेडफोन में दिक्कत होगी सर.
This thing is taught us a new way of learning. You know.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah, audible
Yes,
now.
sir, you're audible.
Okay. So I kind of wasted so much of my breath speaking, and later on realized that I was on mute. So no point. I cracked even a joke, Okay, let me put my camera also on. And before realizing that actually I was on mute, I was telling that among you learned academicians, we fear coming between among you people, because it's a galaxy of learned people. So where do we stand? And like Rajat said, incidentally, I have also visited your campus as part of I think it was accreditation process. And then also I had this chance of visiting you people, and I was really impressed with the campus and the faculty and everything, quality of students, everything. So that's where our baseline is, and we love coming to such institutes. I mean, as much as it is our privilege also to be part of such platforms, because we also get to learn things. I mean, it may be, from your side, you may be looking some industry experience from our side, but from our side, the theory part, which is generally missing in our lives, we dig it out from these places, and the energy level and the youthfulness that one experiences inside the campuses, it's marvelous, so to say. So that's where the bottom line is actually. So let me start by asking everybody. Hope everybody is safe in this COVID time. Things have been tough. Things are tough, and hopefully everybody is finding it safe. Going through their routines, daily routines, this and that. Am I right? And one more thing. You call it whatever, this digital wave technology, this, that. But at some point in time, at least, and that's my personal feeling, I hate this webinar sort of thing, hate is a little harsh word, but you will understand, what I'm trying to say. At times you get a feeling that as if you are talking to walls, you don't get any response, you don't see faces, you don't get reaction, so you don't get a chance to tune yourself in terms of delivering what you are delivering, in terms of really putting the tadka of the knowledge, the humor, this and that. I mean, that all goes missing. So in one sense it becomes a, some monologue wherein just give some sermon and just go. So the point which we look forward to gather from the campuses generally goes missing. So I find it at little disadvantageous level. I don't know why we are doing it. We should be mixing, we should be kind of talking face to face, then probably it's something different. I hope you would agree. But again, there is no mechanism to feel that if audience is really appreciating this point or not, right? I'm assuming that people are appreciating, right? Okay. Now coming to the topic formally, first of all, let me say greetings, good afternoon again. Hope I'm catching you at the right time, not really a nap time for most of the people. after having their lunches, and hope everything is fine, because otherwise in industry, at least I'm not about the academicians, but at least in the industry, we people are really, used to even missing lunches and forget about taking a nap or something. But academicians, I think they do all such kind of things. They have luxuries to practice such thing. In the industry, we rather are other way around. We talk of those data points. We talk of those what should I say, project plans, and then the cost margins, and project overrun. I know. So our bosses really don't think they can really allow us to have the luxury of going into the nap and all. Fine. So let me start by understanding. I mean, hopefully everybody is sensitized to the digitized world, right? What it is, what it entails, what way it is going to be changing our lives, how things are railing looking to change our lives, both professional as well as personal lives, social lives, family lives, and what way it is going to impact us, our career wise, professionally, the work environment, this and that. So there are multiple paradigms to it actually. So let me start with by putting one PPT. Yeah, let me share. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Sushil, visible?
So again, much of it is coming to the public domain anyway, but still this business 4.0 actually is the keyword these days. And what are its technology drivers, what are its business drivers, what are the paradigms around which it revolves. So this all makes very interesting study around what is happening in the industry. And when I say industry, it is all across. So to say, IT industry anyway is just the to say front end of the other industries. I mean, they are the supporters, they are the solution providers. But in the industry everywhere, be it, say for example, I have been into public services recently, in the domain of public services. There, I mean, it is all around. People are talking about business 4.0. I have been part of supply chain. I have been part of energy, resource, and utilities. These big utilities companies, businesses are really shifting for a change, and business models that we experienced 5-10 years back are no more there today, or rather they are changing, and definitely 5-7-10 years down the line they're going to be probably entirely different. So that is the kind of impact this has in these technologies around business 4.0. Wait, do I go to the next slide? So probably people and faculty of institutes like yours must be all aware of all these terminologies and all, but still, just for the benefit of those who may not be kind of aware, or who may be from other departments, say for example mechanical department, civil department, probably they will also be aware, but still for the benefit of everybody, just trying to briefly touch upon what is business 4.0. So we have seen this industrial revolution is a phase in the period of human history wherein we experience certain enhanced levels of business efficiency and business productivity going for a leap, positive leap. So when we say Industrial Revolution 1.0, around that time, people must have experienced, or people rather experienced enhanced level of productivity and efficiency because of whatever reasons. And reasons typically are advancements of technology, advancements of the knowledge of the science, advancement of the understanding of the businesses, understanding of the models that drive businesses. So because of all these factors, we see enhancement of the productivity of the businesses actually. So when we talk about, say, Industrial Revolution 1.0, it is around late 17th century to late 18th century to early 19th century, wherein the human race actually invented few simple mechanized processes, use of steam, use of power, use of, or rather, when I say power, it is the power of those simple machines and all, power of water, power, natural resources, direct raw natural resources. So earlier, when somebody must have been doing some businesses, right, say for example some small tool making for agriculture, or some irrigation, or those kind of things, basically, when this human race started understanding about water, power, this, that, mechanical, simple machines, this, that, lever and all. So using those tools, people started experiencing this enhancement of the productivity. That's where we called it first industrial revolution. Then came second industrial revolution because of further enhancement of understanding business models, how those small tool making shops turned into small factories where tools were produced in mass, assembly lines were introduced, electricity was invented for making small tools, that electrical power was started being used. So again, around late 19th century or early 19th century, 20th century, people started experiencing those further enhancement of the productivity. Then came proper utilization of machine electrical power, proper computers were invented. That was in late 80s, early 80s, and further down, when people started understanding, okay, how businesses are, different components of businesses are related together, how they can efficiently talk to one another, and then how those resources can be utilized properly. So all these things came into picture. The ERP thing came into picture when enterprise-wide things were really put to automation and resources were really utilized in better manner. So that obviously productivity actually went for really a boost. Big controlling system came into picture, the mass production, and the businesses actually experienced all that productivity enhancement. Then now is Industrial Revolution 4, which started in 21st century actually, and in some shape little bit here and there. Roots of that area actually were rooted into computerization only, but the way use of computerization actually put to enhance business productivity has been marvelous actually. And how it is going to affect our lives, it is yet to be seen. If you ask me to preempt everything right now and imagine, it's a difficult task. It is a collective task from everybody, right from industry to people like you in the academia, who can collaborate and arrive at these scenarios, what could unfold. The advantage we have sitting in the industry is that we are first-hand experiences holders of the use cases that users throw to us. First-hand experience holder of actually defining these use cases, actually evolving those models wherein these use cases are taken care and that productivity and enhancements are really talked about. So this industrial revolution 4.0 is another words called digital age also. What are its different paradigms? What are its business drivers? What are its technological drivers? We'll see in subsequent slides little ahead. But linking this industrial revolution with business 4.0, I'll briefly say that business 4.0 is TCS response of the TCS to this challenges of industrial revolution 4.0. The kind of shaking that is happening in the industry, people needed, rather in industry, IT industry needed models, frameworks to actually respond to those challenges and drive that value to the clients actually. Say for example, I'm just trying to give an example. We have evolved a model of say machine first delivery model, MFDM. So this is a properly trademarked model that TCS has evolved as part of business 4.0 framework that we are enhancing, and we have evolved also basically to put to use the machines through different technologies and deliver through those business models the business value that is expected from us by the clients. So in nutshell, business 4.0 is our response, TCS response to the challenges of industrial revolution 4.0. Hope I'm able to give that background and set the stage for a little bit dive deeper into business 4.0 as it exists. Again, had it been a live session, I would have kind of taken some responses and all, but now I just have nothing but to just assume, okay, fine, we will have to kind of live with this fact that okay, people must be understanding and people are actually with me in this journey actually around 1 hour or so. So how things actually are getting driven in business 4.0. First and foremost thing that we talk about is business in business 4.0 is abundance of resources. When we say abundance of resources, people get surprised. I mean, people are always resource crunched, but we say in business 4.0 we have abundance of resources. How? Say for again giving you the example of TCS, how it is. People in the sense people in that specifically in TCS, and I'm sure they must be talking in industry elsewhere also. We have started talking of talent on demand. Can you imagine talent as a service? Earlier, how it used to be in IT industry, we used to train one person. He was located at some place. The client used to ask some services, used to deputy him to some place, and then he would travel to that place, serve there for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, or whatever time frame. Then, it was till very recently, it is still the model. But now, like they have talked about infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, people have started talent as a service. People that say, boss, you talk about any talent, any skill, we provide you. You don't have to worry how we will be deploying it, how we will be, kind of giving it to you, how that will be made productive. But we ensure that resource, that skill, that talent will be available to you as a service. How wonderful, how wonderfully things are changing, mindsets are changing. And again, this is happening in companies like TCS, wherein we really boast of being on the forefront of technology and the business. We are in the leading edge of this digital wave. We have evolved so many models around it, so many buzzwords around it, and so many delivery frameworks around it, that we are very confident that we are going the right direction. We have, if you talk to me, in our vertical itself, public services, we have delivered so many projects using this digital technology. So per se, as of now, as we talk, this abundance of resources is the benchmark of getting into a mindset of business 4.0. I gave you example of talent. Now when we are boasting of really providing that talent on demand, don't you think we can really at the back end build capability of that person or the pool of persons in abundance? So now we have been able to de-link the delivery of the talent at your doorstep to creating those capabilities at the back end. So by delinking these two aspects of talent, now we can boast of abundance at the back end also, wherein we are just training them, giving them opportunity to build their capabilities on the one hand, and on the front end side, as a outcome of that black box, talent is already available to you. So we have created abundance at both the ends. How wonderful! That's what the strength of business 4.0 is. Right? This is the key slide which summarizes kind of everything around business 4.0. How digital is getting sensitized towards delivering enhanced productivity in the businesses. There are 4 business drivers that have been identified. There are 4 technological drivers that have been identified, and they are all here in this slide. Before diving a little deeper into it, I'll talk of few characteristics of what should I say, business 4.0 model, in some sense. How does it drive? I mean, fine, there is set of technologies available to us which enable us to take on to ride that business digital wave. There are business drivers which pull us along that digital wave, which drive be it enhance productivity, or be it creating exponential value, or whatever. We'll talk a little bit in detail. So there are technological factor or business drivers which are pulling us along that digital wave that is happening. We are riding it actually. But as a bottom line, what is that paradigm? What are those characteristics that make us really ready for all that, right? And when I say, there are 2-3 things that come into my mind. First of all, it is connectedness, right? Until unless we are not connected, will not be able to create that business value. Say for example, now we are talking on this webinar, I sitting in Delhi and you people sitting in Amritsar there, but still we are able to kind of execute this webinar. So this is just one part of the whole equation, wherein physical connectivity through networks, this and that is required. But other aspect of it is actually being able to exchange ideas, being able to connect one-on-one between teams, intra-teams, inter-teams, so that those ideas are exchanged. We need to have those kind of platforms wherein workshops could be handled, or if we are designing a solution for a client, those technical finer points are actually thrashed out, or POCs could be done, or they can be delivered in an effortless manner. So the until and unless that connectedness, that through the physical layer as well as the otherwise connecting of the persons is not there, this digital wave, this wave, that wave, I mean, it's not going to work. So the first and foremost is the connectedness. Second part that comes to my mind is innovation. If you can, if we don't bring that innovation in our services, I don't think we'll be able to really, ride that technology wave that is happening around us. And when I say innovation, it requires that totally different mindset. And when I say innovation, it requires the mindset of being a visionary, being able to foresee. I shouldn't say foresee the future, but anticipate what could be coming our way. Try to best fit yourself and be prepared for that. For example, I mean, again, I just reminding me of this example. I was reading in a book basically, and if I remember it correctly, book name was Innovation Nation, and that writer is actually a Navy consultant of US Navy. I mean, his job is to drive innovation in USA Navy. And in his book, he talks of an example wherein he's talking of a ship that will be going around the world, say 100 years down the line. 100 years down the line, okay? We are not sure of, tomorrow, and we are talking of 100 years down the line. And he's trying to design the cabin of the captain who will be captaining that ship 100 years down the line. I mean, what is this? For a captain whose grandfather probably is not born yet, and that gentleman is talking of, designing that cabin of his 100 down the line. So I would say this is per se height of innovation, height of proactive thinking. I mean, so it is that kind of mindset that has to come as innovation. Then only we'll be able to extract the business value out of the business 4.0. If we keep dragging along those traditional models of serving the client and all, I mean, can't really be boasting of taking full advantage of business 4.0 the business models actually, or the technologies, or the business drivers. So that's where we have to be innovative. And with this digital wave, the kind of use cases or the kind of scenarios we see in business world today, they seem to be matching that visionary levels of that gentleman who is trying to design that cabin of that captain trotting the water some 100 years down the line. People are really talking of serving power through microgrids, and taking advantage and being proactively doing descriptive kind of maintenance of lines, predictive kind of maintenance of the lines, prescriptive kind of maintenance of lines. I mean, when I say lines, power lines. I'm trying to give some example from the industry where I come from, basically. So I talked about innovation. I talked about connectedness. Another point that comes to my mind is data. This data, I'm sure you many of you must be from IT background also. There is a lot of talk about data this, data that, but does it really matter? And again, data actually is really the next wave of gold mine, next currency, you can say in some sense. And if you allow me, if I really I'm allowed to give this example of another example. Basically, in USA, like we run here, we run that Olympiad test for junior kids, wherein we test the mathematical and science skills of some 8th, 9th, 10th grade students. There also, and there is a body called I think MSS, and same way it tests across the world the science and mathematical skills of the students across the globe, and then they rank the countries according to the scores of the student, this and that. Now one year they did an experiment in the University of Pennsylvania, and incidentally this study, the results were so bizarre that they never published that study, but still they did this study. And in that study, 1 year what they did before actually taking the exam, before, when people were rather people in the sense those small kids were filling the forms for that test, they were made to respond to a questionnaire which they deliberately made very lengthy and very boring. Some 120 question they gave, in that test. And when they gave that 120 question, they deliberately made it very boring, very dry. Now, such a test, if it is given to such small kids, what will happen? Some of them were, really, they felt really bored with that type of questionnaire. Some of them did attempt some half of the question, some half-heartedly, some completed it. So there was a pattern basically, by which those small kids attempted on that questionnaire. Then they depending upon the response to that questionnaire, they ranked the students. They scored the students not on the content, how they had attempted those 120 questions of not related to maths. They were general questions. They ranked the students, and then depending on that score, they ranked the countries basically, right? Now, after some time, maybe few weeks later, a month later, or whatever, they administered the actual test of science and math, right? And they ranked the students according to the scores they had in those science and math tests, right? And then they compared one side that rank of those questionnaire, and on another side that actual test of science and math. And to the surprise of everybody, the ranking got from this set and this set were exactly same, not even similar. They were exactly same, meaning that rank that the students or the countries got from that boring questionnaire were exactly the same that they got from the science and math skills. So in other words, just by seeing that questionnaire, which had no question related to science or math, I could actually tell the ranking of the people for their mathematical and science skills. Isn't it wonderful? The writer has given so many examples how it happened, might happen. That's different, but something that is not really visible to the naked eye is actually visible through those data trends and all. And these newer technologies, they are able to pick those trends very easily, able to take decision depending on those patterns, those hidden, what should I say, hidden wealth of information that is hidden under the heaps of data that is available to the machines. And when it is available to those machines, definitely it is available to humans also. So that is the power of data. So until as that data and treatment of that data, I mean, it's very difficult to harness this digital wave thing. Then comes another point, analytics. How does that analytics help? You have data, you have connectedness, you have your mindset of innovation, you have data in front of you. Until unless you don't analyze this, it's not going to work. So analysis. Now, how business drives it, we'll talk about it. How technologies, enable it, we'll talk about it. But per se, this analytics provides deep insights into the data, deep insights into the problem, and then is able to take, then the people or the machines are able to take relevant decisions and drive business value, which is probably unprecedented in the past. Again, if you ask me, I can give you an example. Again, I was reading in a book. There is a US body called JFCOM, Joint Force Command Task Force something, whose job is to, it's a defense of ministry, a department whose job is to, kind of simulate the war scenarios, right? And plus test the tools and the ammunition which they are developing for US Army or for other forces. And in a book, and it's in public domain. I mean, it's in public domain. They claim, JFCOM claims that they have tools. They have created tools which can affect the enemy countries in many ways, which includes disruption of their infrastructure, which looks okay. Their power lines, their seaports, this, that. So they have tools to, destroy them. But the most striking part, or rather the sentence which said that they have tools to affect national will of the people of the enemy country to act. Are you understanding my point? They have tools to affect the national will, people of a country, of an enemy country, to act, not act against an issue. Are you understanding? Means analytics can really change the moods and minds of the people of the enemy country also. So forget about picking the gun and kind of playing enemy with them. People will probably side with them. They have tools, analytical tools to affect it that way, and it's in public domain. I can give you the name of the books and all. So I say, wow, come on, if you can just the psyche of the people itself, you can kind of change or challenge through these tools. Where are we? What have we done? Are we really ready for it? So this 4.0 is throwing those kind of challenges to us. If we do analytics, are we able to build better tools to counter that willingness of a society to act on something which they should act upon, right? I mean, JFCOM has come out with tools, but what is the counter to it? That will also come from that analytics only. So we talked of connectedness, we talked of data, we talked of innovation, we talked of analytics. So if mindset is not there for these 4-5 things, this digital wave riding is per se just digital wave riding. It's not hardly going to give any value, right? So we should be ready with those things. Now let's talk about how those technological driver or the business drivers make impact on us actually. So this was a logical break, but again, handicapped of this digital words, can't get the feeling of how people are feeling, or if they are sleeping, or I don't know, but I'm assuming everything.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So there's a query in the chat box.
Boliye, yes, yeah.
There is a query in the chat box that, sir, that tool comes after Vietnam War by Gaurav.
Okay, Gaurav, sir, that tool comes after Vietnam War? Not really. I can't really say. We are talking of per se IT tools actually, right? And if I'm right, I can give you the reference of this book also. Vietnam War is actually a little older. This book is, if I'm right, it is Outliers by Michael Gladwell, right? And there is a chapter, I'm forgetting the name of the chapter. In that chapter, it talks about this JFCOM and this tool around it. And when we say more about that physical tool or the ammunitionary tool, I'm talking about the soft tool, the IT tool through which they are, and this book is around probably 10 years old. It's not that old. So this tool is around, the framework and the tools wherein they can affect the psychology of the people. The best example we must have seen is that Analytica. What was that? That became popular in last election of ours. No, Analytica. Some Analytica was there. I'm sure people must be able to connect. I'm forgetting the exact name. Some Analytica was there, and it was trying to affect the mood of the people to vote in a certain way. So who knows, it was extension of those tools, that set of the tools which they are talking about. I mean, somebody has to kind of connect those dots, but it's there basically. Does it answer? I don't know. Hello? Oh yeah, fine. I got an answer. Yes, sir. Fine. Thank you, sir. So let us progress. Like I said, it was more or less on tools of those software nature, soft tools actually. Yes. Now let us go forward. This sheet is a summary of sheet for business drivers as well as technological drivers. Now let us talk about how these technology wise, I mean, we are a technology firm, how things are affected through these transformative technologies. So first of all, having talked about data innovativeness and those analytical tools, this that automation, this digital wave is the it is getting reflected through the processes of automation. Now more and more processes are getting carried out by automated machinery. In some sense, somewhere even robots are or rather in some sense, if those advanced robots which we can call humanoids also are coming into picture, and they are they are doing those jobs, those business processes in automated fashion, right? Humanoids are really at the, so to say, little far spectrum of the far end of one spectrum. But when we talk of mediocre automation, say for example assembly line, automated loading, automated fitting of screws, automated those kind of things, and really driven by back-end technologies. Which back-end technology is again shown by that intelligence. Data is being gathered, intelligent technologies in terms of artificial intelligence, in terms of those business mathematical business models, they are trying to kind of see patterns in the system, doing supervised and unsupervised learning from the data that is being fed to those systems. They themselves are, when they say these machine tools and all, intelligent tools and all, aided by artificial intelligence and machine learning. Those tools actually arrive at decisions by seeing the pattern, learning it by themselves, and they feed that all that stuff into automation. And when I say automation, probably same robot arm can kind of tighten the screw of X component, and then tighten the screw of Y component also, applying different pressure, applying different number of rounds, this, that. How does that happen? That pattern, that learning that it gets from that, its intelligence gets fed into this automated tool. So automation is actually there to stay. Again, in spite of manpower being there, they provide enhanced level of productivity. So that automation actually enhances that value. And wherever there is a enhancement of value, you can't stop a business from taking those decisions, right? Like I gave you example of this personally hating this webinar sort of things, remote connection. But when businesses, rather academics and my company, if they are able to find that value through this method, I have no choice but to fall. I have to learn that, I have to get into it. So that's how it happens basically, right? So that is mediocre level of automation we talked about. Then on another side of this thing, we have humanoids. I mean, again, I don't know how many of you WhatsApp, in WhatsApp there was this humanoid clip was getting circulated of a humanoid called Sophia. I don't know how many of you must have I know many must have seen it, but still trying to relate it that to here. I mean, that humanoid, how that is, and it's I will call it it because it's neither a male or a female. And so how it is able to synthesize the speech on the go. People are asking questions, and wonderfully, they are asking different questions. And to me, height of that conversation was, when somebody actually asked, Sophia, are you a male or a female? And the way this humanoid, Sophia, gave answer was equally mesmerizing. In the sense, it was, really trying to churn out words by, getting stuck somewhere, and oh well, like live human beings do. And then in the end, it says, well, I'm not sure I'm male or a female. Actually, I'm a robot, so I can't. My name is Sophia. Maybe you can call me a female. I mean, so for a machine to come out with such an answer, just imagine how much of business intelligence or how much of speech synthesis might have gone into it. I mean, it's really wonderful. Now see, can you imagine its implication? I mean, okay, now it is at the experimental stage, but few years down the line, maybe 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, or maybe even earlier, who knows, such robots or humanoids are available in the market, malls and all. What way it is going to affect our lives? If such a robot is available, who's going to need a friend? Who's going to need a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a father or a mother or a son? I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas, So this is actually in the market now. It is for us to grab and be prepared for things, right? In Chandrayaan 2, I think they actually sent half humanoid. And why they call it half humanoid? Below belly, it was just nothing. So those are the kind of things they are actually doing. Only thing is they are not in mass production. Who knows? Few years down the line, they'll be in mass production as well. So automation is taking you to those levels. Are we ready? Oh, I don't know. It will have impact, like we said, it will have impact on us professionally also, socially also, family wise also, individually also. So It's for everybody to guess, see how things are going to change or take shape. All this, and then Agile. I'm sure many of, rather most of us must have heard this word, Agile and cloud. Before coming to Agile, I'll just spend maybe a minute on cloud. Cloud is availability of infrastructure or availability of resources on demand. You don't have to build extra capacities. You don't have to put in extra money upfront. As you go, that thing is available to you. So, say for example, I gave you example of this talent on demand. In some sense, it is talent clouding, don't you say? It's my term, I'm using it for the first time, but I don't think it's something like that only, right? Talent on cloud, right? So the point is, those resources are available to you on demand in a very short notice without upfront, incurring too much of capital expenditure, right? All this through the methodologies of Agile. What is Agile? Agiles make you tech savvy in the sense it is a way of doing things wherein you take small chunk of pieces of work, accomplish it, then move forward. Take second chunk of work, do it, accomplish it. So what is different here? Here we encourage the experimenter to if at all fail fast. You don't worry about failure because that's fine. Even people fail also, no, but do fail fast. Fail often but fail fast, not a worry. The point is to experiment. You innovate with ideas, try it out. If you fail it, leave it and then take into the next idea. So take that into small chunk of works, do it in iterations, take small chunk, do iterate. And in live IT industry also, we do projects in agile mode now. I mean, we don't wait for big monolithic application to come online and one go make it live after 2 years or so. No, now people are talking of small piece of work doable in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It's 5, 6 weeks, right? We call it sprints. We run it in quick succession, quickly make it happen, make it live, move. So that's fair. So these new age technologies are being adopted in industry to make things happen, to drive on the digital wave. Hopefully I'm making some sense. Let us move forward. These are few examples. We'll talk of them little later, but okay, fine. Maybe not too much time on this, but still, it is talking of some business case wherein TCS developed the drone technologies, and by imaginary and all those technologies, we could guess the richness of the the crop and all, or in case of damages, assess the losses and all, and then arrive at feed data to the insurance company. That's how it actually adds value. We'll talk about it. This is just an example we talked about, but through business drivers we will talk a little deeper. Again, this genome study, I mean, why it's not happening? It's playing a little this thing. Oops. Slide is not moving forward, but I can talk, just like that, not empathy. So say for example, this all also talks about self-learning cars and all, wherein artificial intelligence and deep learning has been introduced into our analysis of things, and sensor-based data is getting fed into the systems of car, and it is able to on the run take the decision to kind of make decisions on the go. Say for example, how to take navigation, how to do navigation, and circumvent through the obstacles and all, and then the identify the signs of that needs to be obeyed and all. So it just happens the way artificial intelligence and that learning unfolds itself. It takes multiple factors, aspects into consideration. Something is feeding images to the system through cameras and all. Somewhere it needs to take photos of the traffic light. It has to get in a connection with the other cars also. So it has to talk to mobile phones and all also. So ultimately all these input put into the system of the car, and is ready to take decision by itself. So lastly, we'll talk about some business drivers, as how they create value, what are those business drivers, and then maybe in the end we will talk about one very wonderful case that we have seen getting unfold in TCS in recent times, especially during this COVID-19 time. So that will be it, and then we can kind of take up questions if there are any. So fine. When we say business drivers, typically as a response to this Industrial 4.0 and as a framework for Business 4.0, TCS has come out with typically 4 business drivers. Those are actually affecting the business value and effectivity that is getting generated out of the system basically. And what are those 4 business drivers? First of all, we call first of them is actually creating exponential value. Earlier in traditional methods, people used to talk of business value in traditional sense, wherein linear growth was expected. Okay, fine. Say for example, you are serving clients in sub segment, then you will identify, okay, fine, what can be added into that segment. So you'll do some survey, and maybe fold into some more clients into the same segment. That segment size is more or less fixed, wherein the other players are also there. So you'll talk a few percent here and there, and you'll talk of some linear growth basically. Now people are really talking of exponential growth. They don't say that, okay, fine, my business is running car company and I'll be satisfied. Okay, fine, today I'm running 4 cars, tomorrow 5 cars, maybe day after 20% increase to 6 or 7 cars. That's no. People are really talking of taking exponential growth. They're ready for it. And say as an example, we can talk of what this car companies, right? They are actually, say for example, this example we have listed few examples here. Taxi services have started selling Wi-Fi. Wow. So now if I'm Ola of the world, running my cars in the city, anyway there are say few thousand cars and running, practically they are in every corner of the city. What if I put one dish antenna for capturing the internet and start serving my client? This way or that way, if this car, not then that car, I mean, somehow people will be able to get the connection of internet, Wi-Fi. What a wonderful idea. So It's no more related to just expanding my business into car industry, wherein I'll grow my cars from say 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7. No, my business is entirely different. One more industry has been put into the scope basically. So how does that happen? With the help of the technologies. If you relate it and link it to the technologies that we talked about, you can probably do it. Probably not probably, you can actually do it. People are doing it, right? We have listed a few benefits down below. If you start talking of exponential value, you will increase revenue in exponential forms. You will diversify your revenue streams. You will be talking of more and more returns on your investment, right? You'll be able to leverage. Leverage is anyway another point. Mass personalization. Now, anyway, this anyway is happening probably in all the industries. Say, for example, if you go to bank, they will give you a passbook nowadays with your photo on it. Actually, would we think of such a service, say 10 years back or 20 years back, where your passbook is coming with your photo on it, highly personalized? You feel that, okay, boss, my bank is talking to me in really personal manner. Your telecom company is actually serving you your own caller tune. Your screensaver are happening to be liking of yours. Wonderful. Airlines are giving that personalized tickets, wherein your photo may be printed, or your tagline will be printed on the your e-ticket or some sort of those things. So you'll get a feeling that okay, my service provider actually is talking to me in a personalized manner. I'm being valued. So that sense actually gives you special well-being, actually sense of special well-being. So you start creating that differentiator between service provider A and service provider B. Then there is no limit. I mean, energy companies are really coming to your doorstep, and the way you want to bill them, you can choose your dates of billing the way you want it. How does it happen? Back end, there is technology that supports it, right? Leveraging ecosystem. Now, like I gave you example of that taxi is selling Wi-Fi. In actual sense, you can leverage the ecosystem that is available to you within your company to add on a new industry in your kitty. Like I gave you example of taxi services selling Wi-Fi. You utilize your taxis to ride on the Wi-Fi service, internet service provider segment of the industry. It can happen other way also, wherein you don't use your infrastructure, in some sense you leverage the infrastructures available to you in the society. Again, give you example of a car company. Uber, how many cars does Uber have? Right? How many cars does Ola have? It is leveraging the system of ownership of the car of individual owners. It leases them into its system. It doesn't have to pay anything, and it's just earning. It's just a background system that is running. Keeps yourself connected to the cars of those owners. They are earning for you. They are using your platform. How wonderful! And people, by not spending actually anything, are really, so to say, minting money. They are really good money, and that's where they are doing exponential business. Also, they are doing it by leveraging the ecosystem that is available to any one of us. Right? Again, that example comes to my mind. What? Distress Loo. Again, in one of those videos I saw that Ola came out with a concept of distress loss. Suppose you are standing in a very busy city on a on a crossing, and you really feel the urge of that biological need of nature's call has come. You are really feeling the urge to pass it out, and there is no place. What do? I mean, inside the city, I mean, you are actually lost. But they came out with a wonderful concept. Okay, few of their taxis they converted into mobile toilets, right? You give a call through them, they will come, they'll bring the taxi. Anyway, their taxis are roaming in the city wonderfully, and you can use that taxi, relieve yourself, and they'll charge and they go. How wonderful! I mean, so what is the limitation? Nothing. Is our mind, vision, innovation, being visionary is the only limitation, but otherwise there are no limitations, right? So these business drivers are really opening up things for us. Last business driver which we think of, and it's just where the way we have divided it in for our convenience, but otherwise, I mean, there are so many pointers and things are really taking shape around this digital wave, that there is a lot yet to come. There is a lot. So when we talk of embracing risk, like I gave you the example of agile thing, because of this agile framework, the attitude of agility, you take certain piece, even if you are risking something, risk it, since you will be able to anyway come out of it in few weeks time. So risks are actually drastically reduced. So you are ready, you are prepared to take extra risk. And when you are ready to take that extra risk, and especially with the mindset of being allowed to fail, you quickly try out things. Basically, you quickly realize the opportunities around it. You fail fast, but you fail often, but fail fast. It's okay if you fail, but still, if you are able to fail fast, it's still okay. You start reimagining possibilities, because you don't fear the risk of failure too much now, because at one point and in one iteration, the quantum of risk is really not too big, right? So that's how actually digital things are shaping our world. And mind you, it is probably tip of iceberg. There are things which are still unfolding in bigger ways, and then 10 years down the line, things are really going to be probably entirely different. It's anybody's guess, but be ready, I would say. Last thing that I wanted to talk was about this example of beautiful case study that we experimented in TCS during this COVID-19 time frame. We call it the case of SBWS, Secure Borderless Workspace, right? In nutshell, in 1 minute brief or 30-second brief says that it is the framework of enabling your workforce to be working, to be productive, staying remotely, in such times of COVID or whatever, pandemic or whatever. So essentially, it is a framework which TCS has evolved, wherein people are able to collaborate, people are able to stay connected, and are able to work remotely and still produce that value. So it looks so simple that, okay, what is so big deal about it? You're just making those network connection, this and that, and just making those few tools of being able to team up remotely and talk on virtual webinar or virtual meeting spaces and all. But believe me, it is way more than that. And to the credit of TCS, I must compliment, and we ourselves are sometimes amazed at ourselves. Within few weeks of this lockdown, they have come out with this model wherein not only they made their entire workforce of 450,000 people effectively, and Rajat can really second me on that. 95% of our workforce is actually working, remotely through this framework. So it actually works. But the beautiful part of it is not only we have made it, effective for ourselves, for our workforce, we have taken it to the next level and we have started it as a offering in the market. We are selling it to the client and telling that, okay, boss, you take our framework and we'll make sure that your workforce is productive within small short of duration of time, and we'll make it happen. How will it happen? We'll do consulting services around it. How many people need these connections? Then we'll make necessary infrastructure ready for you where people can collaborate. We will make people ready for it, right? It has to be substantiated by so many other points also. Say for example, health and well-being of the associates. It's not just about making two people talk to each other and then do their job. No, the amount of isolation one feels, the associates feel, the amount of the brain drain they feel after sitting in isolation in their homes. Many places homes are not really conducive to working in such manners. They don't have spare rooms or whatever. So there are very diverse impacts of this. In spite of all that, we have taken care of these aspects. We conduct sessions to enable them to come out of those isolations. We kind of pep talk with them. We provide tools and little games. We do little gamification to morally boost their moods and all. So it's not just about okay, connect two people and they should be able to work. No, that's not how effective workforce is going to be working. On one hand, if you are talking of talent on demand, when people are actually being able to made effective day one on your for your projects, you'll have to take care of them at the back of end of it, so that they don't feel isolated, they don't feel disfigured, they don't feel disassociated with the organization which they are working for, right? So it takes a lot of consulting. And this framework, as they talk, is talking of huge opportunity in terms of financial outcome. And if I share that out, that financial thing, you'll be probably amazed that talking of 30 billion of USD as an opportunity. 30 billion. How many zeros? I don't know. 30 billion of USD, wherein the if I try to compare it, the revenue of TCS last year was around 23 billion. We are talking of 30 billion of opportunity. Can you imagine what kind of, even if we get 20% of this, this amount, 6 billion, we have created probably 1/4 of TCS. How wonderful. So it's that kind of money available to us. So COVID not only has given us challenges, it has given us opportunities. Not that digital wave was not there, it was there. It was slowly taking a shape, but COVID-19 has really provided that boost. We were compelled to work out that model within few weeks, and which we did, right? So there are wonderful case studies around it. So digital wave, so to say, is available to all of us. It is for sure going to change things in many ways. Last point from my side is how to be ready, what to expect and what to do. So probably you are the torch bearers of the academicians, and you are the preparers of the next generation those students are anyway passing through under your hands. So 2-3 pointers only I'll say. Ask them to be innovative, ask them to be entrepreneurs, ask them to be in touch with the latest technologies, what is happening. And let me tell you kind of give one more pointer. In this space of digital world, you think, and I can really, I'm boasting of that TCS is well placed to take the lead role in this digital wave. But are you aware, or do you realize that where is our competition? Where is what is it that we fear most in the competition? In the name of competition, who are those people who fear most? We don't fear big technology companies. We don't fear big names of technology or business consulting people. We fear small entrepreneurs, small college student startups, because in this digital wave we are at same level, be it TCS or be it a college pass out students. My screen logged. I mean, just a minute. Sorry. Okay. So ask them to imagine, ask them to be visionary, ask them to be entrepreneurs, technology driven entrepreneurs. Ask them to be in touch with the digital wave. Let them learn what is happening around the world. Keep them in the habit of learning new technologies, keep them in the habit of knowing things, keep them in the habit of reading. I mean, I'm sure people do wonders, and we have really great society to take advantage of all these digital things and all. With that, I rest my talk. Thank you very much. I'm hoping people listened it, but again, I have no mechanism to get this feeling, and I'm just assuming that okay, things went all well, and I was really up to the expectation. I'm really not sure whether it was really the kind of things which we expected from an industry person like me, but still leaving it to you at this point and saying thanks. Over to you.
Thanks, Sushil.
Sir,
Thank you
it
very
was
much.
very nice presentation. You can see in
Okay.
the chat box, sir, Vaibhav sir is saying nice presentation.
Oh, really? Okay. Nice,
Yes, sir.
nice
One
presentation.
more comment. Thanks a lot, sir. Great to listen to you.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Your PPT was very good. It was very interesting and informative lecture, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are really glad that we get chances like this, because it energizes us also actually.
Participants,
Professor,
any
can we leave for the
query or
day?
any question?
If there is a question, please, I'm happy to address.
It seems like participants only have good comments for you, sir. More comments.
Oh,
Great
really, thank you.
session, sir. Nice session, sir.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much.
The Gaurav sir is asking name of the book.
Okay, let's just me write it.
Okay, sir.
I'm hope I'm writing the spelling right, but this Michael Gladwell is a known journalist actually. You can find on the Google also, but spelling should, I think, be okay. Some word here and there I can't really. You'll probably excuse me for that, right? And if people are really interested, just please read this also by the same author. outlier and blink.
So, Professor, if there are no further questions, can Sushil and I leave for the day?
Yes, sir, you can, sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very
Thank
much.
you so
And
much, sir. It was very informative session, sir. Thank you
yeah,
for
thank
being
you
with
very much.
us.
And God bless all the professors. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, Gaurav, sir. Okay, so participants, now we will have our last day of FDP on 21st on Monday. So see you at 9:30 a.m. There will be a summary by Dr. Navdeep and then feedback session. Then you will have your test at 1 p.m. All the best and thank you so much.